that time. It's been 1,000 miles. Let me give you guys my thoughts and impressions on my 2022 Subaru WRX after 1,000 miles and what I think of the car so far. So I've really enjoyed this car, and I really enjoy all the cars if you guys have been following along on my channel. So I hope to share with you guys some issues that I've maybe had with the car, some things that I love about it, my overall first impressions. Obviously 1,000 miles, it's really hard to give kind of a full deep review, but I will be giving updates as I go along every couple thousand miles just to kind of share if my opinions have changed, because if you guys have been with the car for a period of time, the longer you're with it, you get different perspectives and different things that maybe stick out to you guys. So the only issues I've had with the car are extremely minor. The clutch pedal, I've noticed when it's really cold outside, sometimes it'll squeak a little bit.
How do we know what that sounds like? Oh, trust me, Joshua, you'll know.
But I haven't noticed that in probably the last several weeks, and it has been cold. So probably just more of a lubrication thing.
That's what she said.
But really hasn't been that big of a deal. The issue that I do have that is continuing and recurring is in my passenger side door, I do have a pretty good rattle in there, and it's rattle on just basically any type of music, acoustic, bass, rap, hip-hop, rock. It rattles really bad. So I'm going to be sharing a video on how to fix that. I hope I can fix it, but I think I have the way in order to fix it. I did have one time where the car took a long time to start. So as you guys know, I've been moving houses, and at one point in time, the car took forever to try and start up. I've heard that's a common problem. It has not done that since, but the car is sitting outside. It was really cold temperatures, so haven't had that issue, so it's not a problem. So those are really the only issues I've had with the car. Other people have claimed to have issues with infotainment. That has not been an issue whatsoever for me. The infotainment I've actually really enjoyed. It's actually really responsive, and I've had zero complaints, no issues with it. Other people have had just random issues here or there, but the RTV issue, that's still kind of a big question mark out there for a lot of people. For those of you that haven't been following along Subaru with their BRZs, WRXs, it must have been a machine or something just put too much RTV around the oil pan. It's getting into the oil, it's getting on the oil pickup, and what that happens over time is that oil pickup's supposed to filter out anything that's in your oil. The problem is it's clogging in some instances the oil pickup tube, and so oil is not getting to certain parts of your engine, which is causing engine failure. I really think that issue is overblown. I haven't seen enough issues. Everybody's dropped it, and yes, it does seem like there is an excessive amount of RTV. Am I worried about that? I'm not. I'm going to drive my car as I want to, and if the car starves itself of oil, the car is going to be under warranty, so I'm not too worried or concerned about that. So my overall impression so far of the car, I've really enjoyed it. This wasn't a car that was on my radar. I never liked the looks of it. The looks of this car are so subjective. It's grown on me a lot. Is it my favorite looks-wise WRX STI? It's not. I really like the blob eye, probably my favorite generation. But at the end of the day, I've really liked the looks of the car. It's grown on me a lot. The massive hood scoop in the front is awesome. I've tinted out some of the side markers. I have a wing coming for the car. It grows on you, and it looks really good. And honestly, I like having the cladding around the wheel wells because it prevents rocks from jumping up and just, tearing up your paint. So I've actually enjoyed it. The back of the car was my least favorite, and it's okay, but I have some things coming that are going to kind of fix that. But the looks, it's so hard to get into that, but I like the looks of the car. I think it looks great, especially with what I have planned for it. I think depending on the color you get in the WRX, that definitely makes a difference. But overall, I actually have really grown to like this. And any Subaru car, WRX out there that they've rolled out, there's always been just like a huge following where people are like completely, upset when the car comes out. So I'm not worried about it. I like the looks of the car. The car ride is pretty stiff. You go over any type of bump, it rides really stiff. The car feels really solid, and it actually, and I don't think I would ever equate this word to Subaru, it actually feels somewhat high quality. Like when you shut the doors, they feel heavy. They don't feel tinny. They don't feel cheap. Like everything on this car, for the most part, feels really quality. I like it. The stick shift, the manual, it's so good to be back in a manual. Subaru has a very mechanical shifting feel, and what I mean by mechanical is it allows you to feel in control of the car. It feels more old school. You know, it clicks into place as you go through the different gears. I actually really like the shifter. I've always loved the Subaru just shifting mechanism. It's notchy. It kind of gives you a distinct click and feel as you kind of go through the gears, and I've actually really enjoyed that. Power wise for the car, it's got decent amount of power. I've come from V8s in different cars. What I really like about this platform is you can hear the turbo kind of spool up and wind up, and you can hear kind of the blow-off valve a little bit that's stock. It's kind of cool. You can actually hear the turbo spool up a little bit. Obviously you could amp that up a lot, but the car does feel extremely responsive in terms of just power. You're always in the power band. What's great about this generation, among so many other things, is they finally got the tuning right on the car. And when I talk about tuning, before with the WRX and the STI, it was like, hey, you had a little bit of power, you had a little bit of power, a lot of power, not a lot of power, more power. Like, this is just extremely linear from start to finish, from zero to red line. It is actually very linear in terms of power, and it feels really good. The car is very, you're gonna go through the gears really quick in this car. It only revs to 6,000 RPM. The Drunkman E-Tune, I think, bumps up to 6,500, which I might be considering at some point in time. I'm still really going back and forth on, do I want to tune this car, yes or no? But the car's gearing is really short. So with the boost and the very linear power curve, you're going to be rolling through the gears. In terms of getting to 60, you have to shift 3 times to get it. The previous WRXs in the V8 generation, you only had to shift twice. The STIs, you always had to shift 3 times to get it. So obviously going to slow down your 0 to 60. 60. Another thing to be concerned about, or if you're in a colder climate, or you know, buying this car in wintertime, car comes with summer tires. I really don't understand why they do that. I don't know why they don't do more all season, but there are more performance tires, so yeah, the car can do fine in the snow and the ice, but it's not as great as it could be with a different type of tire on the car. So just be mindful that these tires out of the gate, if you're driving in really cold temperatures, rain, snow, just be careful, just go easy at it. The exhaust, surprisingly, the stock exhaust, now you guys know that I've modified my exhaust since with the Remark Axleback, but the stock exhaust on this car actually is somewhat decent. Upon cold startup, it's actually pretty loud, pretty decently loud, annoyingly loud to some extent. Now when the car warms up, it's totally fine. Even on the stock exhaust, occasionally you'd kind of hear like a pop here and there, but the stock exhaust is great. This new motor, this new platform in this car, it's great because you have the 2.4 liter versus the 2, so you have a little bit more low-end grunt down low. The turbo in this car, this engine is just a lot less stressed, so they managed to keep a lot of the power the same from prior generations, but they managed to make the car a lot less stressed, which means you can turn these up and get more out of them. And I think these are going to be a lot more reliable platform. The seats in the car have been very comfortable. I have no complaints about it. Obviously, I have the previous trim, and you know, they're cloth. The heat seaters in this car, seat heaters, I don't know. They are phenomenal. If you like your butt being on fire, if you like your butt being lit up by a torch, you're gonna love these things. They're awesome. They heat up so fast. But the vents in the car, very cool looking, just kind of a different feel. I feel they finally brought the WRX kind of in the modern ages. I'm glad it doesn't have a digital display. I'm glad it's still the analog gauges. I'm kind of more of an analog guy. I actually really enjoy that they moved the boost. So in the prior generations, you had kind of your boost up in the middle on your dash. Now they moved it right into the kind of the cockpit view. And I love being able to see the boost on the car in terms of what is my peak, what is my low. It's been really fun to do that, to be able to reset that, to try different filters, to try different things to see like, hey, how is the car performing? So it's a shame that some cars in turbo application don't have that. I think it's just a cool readout and a cool thing that I actually really appreciate. I was really bummed that the Supra didn't have a PSI readout on a turbo. That was one of my biggest gripes of the Supra, and I know that's just kind of a weird gripe and my gripe, but it was one that I had. The car handles really good. All-wheel drive is a blast. I'm still getting used to the platform. I have not dumped the clutch. I've done some very slow 0 to 60 rolls. Some people grilled me on that on my shorts, but I'm not ready to rev the car to the moon and drop the clutch. I know the car's a lot more capable. I'll probably get around the 5-second range, 0 to 60 in the 5. So it's been very good. I've liked the powertrain. It's handled really good. It feels stiff. It feels solid as I drive it. I have the Harman Kardon in here. I've liked the Harman Kardon. I've always been kind of against the more premium audio systems, but in the Harman Kardon, I've actually really liked it, and it's actually been very good, aside from the rattle. If I can fix the rattle, I'll enjoy the sound system a lot more. But in terms of, some people have complained about the infotainment, that you don't have a lot of physical buttons, but you still have a volume knob, you still have a tune knob, you can adjust the temperatures on each side. So it's actually been really good from that standpoint. Fuel economy, I'll share some different examples of what I've got fuel wise. All right, this is 22.4 mpg, second tank of gas. All right, this one took 15 gallons to fill up, a lot of spirited driving. And I'll kind of just give you guys an update as I filled up each tank, but obviously it just varies. Did I allow the car to break in for the full period? I didn't. I wanted to drive it. So after I think I gave it till about 500 miles. I babied it to 500 miles and I started pushing it a lot harder. And the car has been fine. That's really at your own risk. Manufacturer says to wait to 1,000 miles, but I've definitely enjoyed getting on the car. It's really hard staying out of boost in the car. It's definitely a lot of fun. I enjoy it. I'm trying to think of other things that my impressions so far on the car. I really don't have anything I lack. I wish it had like some interior lighting options, but I am going to be installing kind of a footwell lighting kit in here that will be good. The car has been what I've wanted it to be. It's interesting. I was actually considering other cars before I got this. I drove it, and it's just got a very fun dynamic to it. It saddens me because I think people disregard this car because they don't like the looks of it. But in my opinion, and I've driven other Subarus, I've driven a WRX, I've driven an STI, this is the best platform to build off of, in my opinion. Now, have I modified other Subarus? No. But you can just tell from how this car was put together, from the bigger displacement to a lot of other things within this car, people are making 400 horsepower, 400 torque fairly easy with the tune and a couple modifications. Now, I wouldn't push the car much over 400 because I think the transmission's going to suffer. That's where the STIs had a lot more robust transmission that I think did a lot better. But at the end of the day, I think people will get more out of this car tuning it for cheaper amounts to get more horsepower. I still want to see how it lasts the test of time. But this car has surprised me. It really has. These cars, or love it or hate it, and a lot of them are sitting on lots. A lot of them you can get big discounts on them right now. Some markets they struggle to keep them, but Subaru has been flooding the marketplace with these cars. But if you look at the sell of the WRX, it's actually done pretty well considering a totally new model year. But I think for getting the very first year of a new model year, I haven't had any issues really to complain about that are major. So those are kind of my impressions on the car. I definitely want to try and line up maybe some races. I want to do some deeper comparisons. I'm really debating back and forth on tuning the car. There's obviously the JB4 tune. There's the Cobb access port with some of the Cobb tunes. You can obviously go with the Pro tune. It sounds like the Drunk Man E tune is really the way to go. But I get nervous because having a brand new car like this, anytime you start tuning a car, modifying a car, it introduces breakage points. But I'm really excited to bring more light to this platform. I'm really excited because I think this is an underrated car that deserves a lot more recognition. But from a drivability, the things that I care about is a good manual transmission. Is the power there? Is it fun? Is it engaging? And so far it's been extremely engaging to drive. It's been addicting to drive. I look forward to driving it. So more impressions to come, more tests to come, more thoughts to come, but super excited about this platform. Let me know what you guys would like to see from content. If there's questions you guys have or videos that you'd like to see me make, I'd be more than happy to try and film some videos around that for you guys. But please like, comment, and subscribe if you guys haven't. If you guys are interested about the Subaru platform, stick around. Got a lot more coming. Thanks.